This week on the podcast, we've watched the first episode of X-Arm.
And it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't really consider this a review of the anime. It's more of why X-Arm is the worst anime of all time.
Which is the same thing as a review.
Oh, whatever, Zio. And you're listening to the Sunovageek podcast.
Son of a geek!
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I am doing really good, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good to be back.
You know, when we talked about X-Arm and such, you're like, oh, I watched the first 2 episodes. I'm like, okay, I can watch the first 2 episodes. And then I watched the first episode, and I'm like, I can't do a second episode of this. I had a hard time getting past the first, 3 minutes of it. It's not good. It's not good at all, Sven. It's just bad.
Yeah, there's not real. I don't really know how else to. I don't know what else to say.
It's hard to have any redeeming qualities of this anime, and yet you have some stuff on here, I see, and I guess I'm gonna try to make something up.
When I watched it, I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. We have to talk about this because this is just ridiculous. And then I went and I rewatched it a second time while I was taking notes. So I was in a new mindset. So I started looking. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna find everything I hate about this. But then I noticed a few things that I'm like, hey, this isn't so bad. Too bad it's not very much.
Yeah.
And all the things that I found that I liked are things that I may just hate later because they're not really anything at this moment.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. It's hard to, say an anime's bad just off the first episode because, there's plenty of episodes where it could redeem itself. However...
No.
this doesn't have redeeming qualities. It's just straight terrible. Everything about it is almost... I mean, the only interesting thing about this anime is kind of the story. That's about it.
Well, since we started talking about this, I grabbed a quick synopsis just in case someone is crazy enough that they don't know what it is, but they wanted to come here and check out, or they don't know what X-Arm is, but they stopped by to check it out through our glorious interpretation of how bad it is.
Yeah.
But in the year 2014, a high school student who hates machines, Akira Natsume, wants to change himself for the better and tries to take the first step in doing that. But then he gets run over by a truck. Fast forward to 2030, a police officer named Minami Uezono and her partner, the android Alma, infiltrate the scene of a trade going on at a Tokyo harbor for an unknown weapon called X-Arm. They are then attacked by an enemy armed with the X-Arm number 8. Put in this life or death situation, they decide to activate the X-Arm number 00 that they stole from the enemy and ... I searched everywhere for a better synopsis that doesn't end with and ... And that's the official synopsis of the show.
It's so mysterious.
Hate it so much. I don't remember which one it was, but we did a podcast about the top anime coming out this anime season, and there was one of them that ended with ... and I'm pretty sure it was this one, and I hated it then, and I hate it now.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, it's not good. I don't know, what should we start with?
Well, I'd like to start with some of the things that I liked about the show, because I think there are a few tiny things that are kind of, I want to use the word redeeming, but
and I want to say you're being generous.
Well, so the first thing I really liked is the concept of the character being a computer. Where he's in this little box being carried around, and he helps them by interacting with different things. And I thought that was really cool. I couldn't, off the top of my head, think of another show that's done something like that.
Yeah, no, the concept is interesting. I'm curious how long they carry that on for, because, I mean, just having a brain as your main character isn't that interesting. But it was interesting as a concept for this first episode. They don't really show much how he takes over things and how he does stuff. It's just kind of there. So I do think it's an interesting concept, but for me, it takes away because they don't do anything interesting with it. They don't show us how it's done. It's just, oh, you can now see through my eyes. Oh, you can now take over this boat. Oh, you can now control my body. And then the way to do it is you think about it.
Well, they kind of showed it a little bit at first with him being able to see through her eyes because he was plugged into her.
Yes, that, no,
Or sorry, she plugged into him or something like that.
Yeah. I just wish they would have taken a little further to like show him like I don't know flying through some computer mainframe, and maybe he can control camera movements and stuff like.
But they do. He goes inside her. Remember?
Well, no, that's her. I was talking about the ship.
No, there's that part where. Oh wait, maybe that's in the second episode. I've seen the second episode. Zio hasn't seen the second one yet.
Yeah, I refuse to watch it. I'm not going to.
So 2 episodes are out at the time of us talking about this. In the second episode, there's a part where
actually 3 episodes are out. The third episode.
Oh, there's a third one out right now.
It just came out today.
I gotta go watch that.
No, you don't. We don't need to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching this until the end because I want it. I don't know.
Oh, they're kissing. What the fuck?
Yeah. So in the second episode, there's a moment where he goes, and I guess if you haven't seen the 2 episodes and you're interested in watching them, then you should watch them. If not, we're going to spoil them here for you. There's a part where she kind of interfaces with him again. And because you know how he's in that weird little like space where he just like stands around, and it's this really awkward confrontation of where it's like talking about like, you know, come inside me, and so then they will walk into each other.
Yeah, that was really weird. Come inside me now.
To be fair, I haven't gotten to that part in the manga because I started reading that. We'll talk about that later on. The manga is a lot more. It pushes things a little bit more with like the sexual nature of and ideas of that kind of stuff. So this anime's toned that down toned that back a fair amount. So this is just kind of one of those weird things. I think that's just kind of snuck in, possibly. I don't know for sure. But there was a lot of talk because I was reading the comments on Crunchyroll, and a lot of people were talking about that have read the manga that the anime tones back a lot because. If you look up the cover for the original manga,
I'm looking
Alma
at
looks
it right
younger, and she's completely naked except for these 2 little like tiny things that cover up her boobs and her groin.
Yep. Why are you saying the manga is good? This looks terrible, Sven.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that after. We'll talk about that after.
All right.
So the other thing that I really liked is a lot of shows either don't give us any information or tease us with something and then immediately throw all the cards on the table. Mm-hmm. And I really like that this show has hinted us with certain things, but it's done it in a way where it's not like, hey, we're giving you these hints, look at these hints. It's kind of put them in the background. Where at the very beginning, his brother, we see in this this family photo that his brother is like this very nerdy character, or was this very nerdy character. Something happened after their parents died, and now suddenly he's this just like tall, beautiful, like ladies' man looking like guy.
Whereas this picture from before, than his brother in the animation.
Even though before he's very like in the old family photo he was like a bigger guy with like the classic like white button up shirt and the glasses, as well as he shows us a picture of Alma, and this is like back in like the 20 whatever it was before his character died, so there's some sort of connection between his brother.
Alma is the android.
Yeah, Alma's an android,
right? But you just said they even show a picture of Alma.
Yes.
Oh,
his brother shows. So in the very beginning of the first episode, he shows. I don't remember. Natsume. That's the main character's name. Natsume's brother shows Natsume a picture of Alma, and then Natsume is like, no, I don't want to see that. Blah, blah, blah. And then we also hear that Natsume's brother works. He's working with androids.
That's right. It slipped right by my mind. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how all of that ties in.
Yeah.
So especially because there's something up with it's very hard to I only caught this on my second watch through because I was really paying attention. At the very beginning, we know that Natsume hates electronics. He just absolutely despises them.
Yeah.
But when at the beginning, one of his friends shows him a picture of something on the phone, and then we see Natsume get all kind of weird and his vision gets all messed up, and then he's taken to the nurses thing. So there's something with the technology that just affects him in a weird way. And so I think that's why he hates it. So I think there's something at play between his brother and him already being an X-arm at that point. It's just something happens where his brain's now put in this device. So I don't like, there's something's going on there. And I think that's really cool. And it gives us these hints for it, but it never talks about it. And then we're 2 episodes in and it's there's never been a single reference back to any of those characters
now,
or anything with his brother.
What if it's just a situation like Toga where they just forget about it?
Who knows? It's very possible.
Because all the things you seem to be giving credit to this anime, I'm
not giving credit. I'm just saying I like it so far with that
okay,
stuff.
that's fair. But at the same time, does the anime still get that, or is that just the manga because it's taking the story?
It's tough. We're gonna talk about the manga later and some different stuff with it in the anime, but at least so far right now, it's that information that I'm interested in, and I'm excited to find out more about that and how they tie it in. I'm worried it's just gonna, like, don't get me wrong, I'm worried that it's not gonna be good and it's gonna suck.
You know what?
And I'm gonna hate it.
Now that you've pointed out all that information, I gotta say, it is fascinating. I'm still not gonna watch it though.
Okay, well I'll keep you updated on what's going on with it.
Okay, yeah. You absolutely should. I am curious how it unfolds. Mostly not curious about the anime itself. More curious about how you feel about it as you watch it. I get the feeling that there's just going to be more frustration as we go. We'll find out.
It's very possible.
We'll see.
The only other thing I can say that I really like about it is I enjoy the personality of the girl Minami. That's the girl that's with Alma. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very fun, her personality-wise. We're gonna, all right, we'll get into.
I don't know. I didn't find her very fun. I found this whole entire thing pretty stiff.
See, but I don't think it's tough because I feel like if you just listen to it, she's got a fun personality. But if you watch it, it's hard to see that personality because she's just so awkwardly animated that it kind of ruins the portrayal of her. Like, the voice actor, I think, did a good job with it.
I think she did okay. I think budget is the biggest problem of this anime too. I think budget played a huge factor. But either way, let's talk about the juicy stuff. I couldn't find anything
on the budget for it. There's very little information about this anime on the internet, and for good reason.
That's probably why. It's got nothing. I mean, yeah, so speaking of the animation, this is probably what I want to talk about the most of this anime. It is terrible. Like, I have no animating background. I feel like I could probably do a better job than this show.
Neither does the team that made this anime.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Man, like, somebody had to watch that and approve it and be like, yeah, this is good. Which is the director's call. And
see, but that's the biggest problem. The director, Yoshikatsu Kimura, has no experience in animation. He's never worked on animation before in his life.
So he was just like, maybe he watched an anime and was like, you know what? I can do this. Let's find an anime to do. And he probably got a cheap manga to adapt, which is X-Arm, because the covers don't look great. So it's probably not the best.
I honestly don't know, because one of his quotes is, "I have experience as a director, so I decided to give it a shot." And he just, everything I found with him talking about it,
I love
it's just been him. It's just been him being like, well, why not? It's him. He either came in overconfident, where he's just like, I'm really good at this. This is going to be easy. Or he didn't care. And he was just like, all right, we're just gonna do this.
I love that. I kind of done this before. Why not? Let's do it.
One of the things I think is really, because he's had experience in like live action and doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that all directors are going to do a bad job not having experience in the past. Because I think something that's really, really interesting to know is in 2011, Psycho Pass came out, and Psycho Pass is considered a really, really good
Yeah,
anime.
it's one of my favorite animes. I really like it.
And its director also came in having no animation experience before. He had only done live action. The only difference is he didn't go in and just be like, yeah, whatever. He got help. He brought in a Naoshi Shiotani, who's a veteran key animator. He's done tons of different things on stuff like he was there with all the Psycho Pass movies, helping out through the whole way. But he's done tons of stuff like he's done storyboarding on Haikyuu. He's done Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. He has also done Ghost in the Shell movies. And he's got a huge, massive list of tons of things that he's done. Even the Attack on Titan, he did work on that as well. So he was able to bring that experience in to be able to help the director.
Nice.
Whereas in this case, this guy I don't know if he's just an idiot.
I feel like,
or if he's overconfident.
I legit think he like watched something and was like, I can do that, and then he just tried it.
See, because he's brought on as the director, and so what he does is he takes his whole team that he usually makes live action movies with and says, "Hey guys, we're making an anime," and
so everybody was like, "Woo!"
And so what they do is their solution to this is like, okay, we'll just go and we'll do a whole bunch of motion capture, and we'll be good to go. So they took all this motion capture, but they didn't understand that you can't just take motion capture and put it in. Motion capture, even like high quality professionals, when they do use motion capture, they have key animators that come in and they go through and they adjust everything for timing and they make sure it all fits and it looks natural in an animated setting. But these guys didn't have that.
Yep, and it just felt stiff and lifeless because of it.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like the very first time I saw the main guy, whatever his name is, Akira, was during the opening. Like I always watch the opener for like the first time when I start an anime, and I typically skip it. While the music wasn't bad, didn't fit the tone of the anime. I felt like it was very poppy and lighthearted. The very first time they just showed those still frames of those 3D animated characters. They didn't move. They didn't do anything. They just sat there, and I was like, oh no, this is not good. And then they show it, and he doesn't like blink, or they blink once in a while. Sorry, but they just stare. Their eyes don't move. Their eyebrows don't like flourish or whatever. They don't do anything. There's no inflection in their faces at all. It just, and what's weird is you think about how does this differ from any other anime? Because I try to think like older animes have like, oh, a guy is just kind of standing still and sitting there. How do they make it feel like they're alive? It's because they have subtle movements here and there. Like maybe an arm is moving, or maybe the shadows move a little bit. Like there's subtle movements that make it feel more lively from a still drawing versus this 3D animated bit that isn't doing anything.
Well, so the big problem that they have with this is because they didn't have any experience in animation, they didn't understand eyes, and a lot of you can kind of like the models that they have aren't fantastic, but they can get away with decent stuff with what they have. It's just that all the eyes are 90% of the time are just looking directly where the head's turning. So when they go to look at somebody else, the head turns and the eyes still they never move.
Right.
Whereas in animation, like, the eyes always lead. Like shift first.
Yeah. Like I mean, that's just human reaction. Like your head doesn't turn until you look left. Usually you look left and then your head turns into that. Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense that you would follow that type of thing with these guys. It just feels like dolls. It feels like I was playing with a toy.
Oh, 100%.
And then just letting it play out. I mean, in my head, playing with a toy felt more lively than this.
100%. If they just put a bit more, if they had a bit more, I don't know if they ran out of time, if they were rushed through stuff or what it was, but if just a little bit more time had been spent on the eyes, I think we would have felt very different about a lot of the moments where things just felt awkward and strange.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
Yoshi. Oh,
sorry. I'm kind of partially watching episode 3 at the same time while talking.
does it get
Yeah.
better?
Well, they have booby physics. The first episode
Zio,
I
don't
noticed.
spoil this stuff for me.
I noticed the first episode didn't have any boob physics. Like when they ran, it was super stiff because I mean they give the main girl, whatever her face is, Alma, like super big boobs, and then she
Well,
didn't
they're
jiggle at
smaller
all.
than what they are in the manga.
Are they really?
I think so. Or maybe it's just the suits. The suit in the manga has less suit, so maybe they just seem bigger.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I do say like it does kind of feel like episode 3 has a little more budget. Like
Well, I
it's
hope
almost
it
like
gets better.
it's like they're learning as they go. So I gotta say, episode 3
Looks a little better.
just a little bit, not much. It's really hard to like give it credit. It's hard to say that it's gonna get better, but I've already noticed subtle movements that already feel a little more alive.
Okay.
I still hate every moment of it though.
Oh, well, that's completely fine. I look forward to watching it after the podcast is over.
All right, good. So what I don't get about this is that they didn't commit to anything. Like they have 3D models, right? And then randomly a character is a 2D model.
Mhm.
Like, and it's not like most animes where they have 2D characters driving a 3D car, or like maybe it's a 3D robot or certain parts require 3D motion. No, it's literally like they have a 3D character. Oh, a good example is Akira is a 3D model and his brother is a 2D cartoon.
Mhm. I honestly think what they did was this is speculation because I haven't read all of the manga yet, but I think anybody that's a 2D character, we only ever see once. Or we don't see enough where they thought it was worth to put in the time to turn it into a 3D model.
Yeah, I understand that. Again, that's what makes me think budgeting. I think they like ran out of time and they like, oh, we didn't make this character model yet because they're doing the main characters first and then, side characters last. It makes sense. But yeah, just 2D models of these random characters.
What's really tough too is any moments where I've seen the 2D characters. When I was reading through the manga, I'd be like, holy crap, this is the part here where it was basically shot for shot the exact frame from one of the panels in the manga. So that moment when in the first episode where he comes out of the convenience store and we see that girl and those thugs, whatever, pulling on or trying to like get her to go with them.
Yeah.
That is it's like 100% shot for shot the one panel from in the manga. And there's a lot of action moments too where I guarantee any of the moments in the fight where you're just like, this is really weird, this framing just looks uncomfortable, and there's a moment where it like slows down and almost pauses there. Those are moments where I think they took panels out of the manga and used that for key framing.
Interesting.
And that's because there's that one there where there's the guys with the trying to get the girl to come with them. There is the moment when that awkward moment when the number 8 or whatever it is, he comes out and he holds his hand out and you see those bullets fly through.
Yeah.
That is exactly how it's framed in the manga. Same thing with how when he comes out of the wall and she kicks the wall trying to get him, that's also frame for frame exactly how it is in the manga. So because they didn't have any experience with all this stuff before, I think they were using moments they were using keyframes or using panels from the manga as keyframes, which most of the time doesn't translate well into like 3D or in like a 3D setting, just because of how the composition of everything is set up. And it's just awkward and uncomfortable with how they've done it.
Yeah.
I honestly rewatched the first episode again a third time with the manga up beside me, and I just kept finding more and more moments where I'm like, this looks really awkward in the show. Oh, it's because they used the panel from the manga as their reference of how they were going to frame everything.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely see where they probably tried their best with that. But yeah, it makes sense like why you wouldn't want to do that, because I mean, in anime, the fight scenes they're showing, like the camera I remember was sitting so far back, and they're showing all this movement and stuff. And while it was cool, they should have done a couple more cuts or more zoom ins, more close ups, things like that to hide the awkwardness.
But they didn't, because they were using the manga.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying, Spence. I'm saying.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to throw that on the top to be like, yeah, whoa, look, I'm a part of this.
They were using the manga, which makes sense, but they should have like tried to take his, as a director, he should have like understood, you should have a close up here, a zoom in here, maybe back out here, just to kind of pass for more believable animation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole thing felt stiff. And
see, and the worst part about this is, I think I've said that a few times now, but
it's all the worst part.
So Yoshikatsu Kimura, he's the director of X-Arm. I looked up his previous work, and it's not great either.
No,
like it's there's a movie he was this I couldn't find. So there's this movie called High Kick Girl. It's about this karate, this girl who's in karate, and she's has to go and fight through these different things. I'm very sad I couldn't find the Japanese version of it. I could only find a version that was ripped right off of like the German translation.
Yeah.
Where everything's like re-audioed and everything's redone in it. So it's even worse than I think how he had it. But watching the different fight scenes and how things are kind of laid out in that, it's not good to begin with. And that, I think I really hate just saying this, but he's just not a good director.
So I wonder if he's in a situation like, do you think it's maybe like a rich guy who just has money and wants to do this, but he doesn't like do any studying or research? Or
I don't think so, because he doesn't have very much under his belt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he could just be a rich guy who has money. So how does this get funded? How did he convince somebody to fund this thing, right? Maybe he used his own money. How does he have the money? So maybe he's just a guy with money that wanted to be a director but doesn't have the experience or the training behind it.
I don't know. Because he jumps around. He's only worked on a few projects where he was like the writer or like the second unit director, whatever that means, assistant director. And he's only directed a couple things himself. So, and looking at the progression of the timeline, it doesn't, if he had lots of money, I feel like he would have been the director of a few more things, just with how he presents himself in interviews.
Okay.
So it looks like he's slowly kind of worked himself up this kind of totem pole to get to being a director. It's just unfortunate that it really feels like everything that he's tried to do in this has all been kind of like, it's like, it's not even B quality. Is C quality? Are there C films? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's just, you say the way he carries himself, you think he's kind of like built his way up and everything. But I feel like even then you gotta have more experience. Like, I have no real film experience, right? And I look back at our first episode of Next to Nothing, and I think it's bad, but at the same time, I think it's better than this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's like a level of not caring in the work. I feel like there's definitely something there. I feel like maybe he just had the money to do it and decided to do it.
I don't know. I think he does care, and he's just not very good.
I don't think so. I disagree entirely. I think he may be portraying that he cares, but you can tell when people care and don't care about stuff.
That is true. But I've also worked with a lot of people over the years that have really cared about stuff but are just bad and keep working at it and never get better.
I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine, because I feel like if you really cared about something, you would get better. You would notice things and actually get better from before. Or like because there's a difference between caring about doing something and then caring about the attention for doing for something. You know, like we have this experience because we're YouTubers, right? We've met plenty of
Yeah.
people who just want to be YouTube famous. So you can see their level of attention to detail in their work because of that, or things they care about and don't care about doing. They don't care to do behind the scenes stuff to make their stuff better. They care about just getting the attention, so they're going to continue to make more content without doing research and, you know, exploration of trying something different in the background. Um,
No, that's
so
fair.
I feel like maybe the goal is wrong, and that's what they're doing. Because I don't think this guy cares.
See, the reason why, the only other thing I can really say as to why I think he does care is, so he was the writer of a movie back in 2009 called High Kick Girl. From there, he was the director of, in 2011, one, it's called KG, which I think stands for Kick Girl, because I found some different stuff to do with that. It's the same kind of girl in the artist, but then it's got another one as well called High Kick Angels. So it, like, there's, I think if he didn't care, then he wouldn't have kept, like, trying to take this story and continue it on throughout it, but I don't know, it's hard to say.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm curious. I'd have to check out all of his other stuff just to figure something out.
I'm trying. I spent a couple hours trying to find it, but I really want to find High Kick Girl, the movie he did in 2009.
I'm already watching a clip of it on YouTube.
So the clip you're watching on YouTube is either the trailer for it, or it's the movie where they took the movie and then they redid it in German. But to do that, they redubbed it. They also redid all the music. They re-added all the sound effects in, so it's really bad.
No, this isn't German. This is just a movie clip.
Okay. And there's some of the movie clips from High Kick Girl, like you look at the composition of everything, you're like, wow, this is actually really good. But then you see other ones, and it's absolutely terrible. If you look up High Kick Girl 2009, you'll find the German thing, and if you even just watch the very first fight in it, it's just terrible. It's like they found people who were good at martial arts but were bad actors.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I'm watching this clip. They're using the same sound effect over and over and over again.
That's you're watching the German rip of it.
Are you sure?
100%.
I don't think you're right.
Send me the clip.
This isn't German. They spoke Japanese.
Really? You gotta send me this clip then.
Okay.
Oh, it's unavailable for me. That's why I couldn't watch it.
No, that's weird.
Yeah, it's probably got like a American only type thing. Son of a gun.
But so watching that clip, like the action scene isn't terrible. They do a lot of really weird slowdown moments of it, which doesn't make sense, but they use the exact same sound effects every single time she lands a hit. Like it's the same hit sound effect each time.
God, the movies. Oh, never mind. I'm going to order the movie because I want to watch this. But it says it's like $40. That's crazy. Oh, I found one for $9.70.
Maybe we should watch this for one of our podcasts.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah, we can just review High Kick Girl.
No, our goal is to go. We need to go through and rewatch all of this guy's stuff now, so that we can decide for sure if we think he cares.
I don't think he cares. I'm still gonna stand by the don't care camp because also, I don't know I think he picked a cheap anime or a cheap manga because you got to think of like how does this world work, right? To be able to do an adaptation of an anime, you have to have the licensing rights. So for that, he had to find the licensing of a cheap manga. Because I was listening to your talks, Ben, I looked up the manga online, and I've scrolled through about 3 chapters of this, and it's not better. It looks better, but story wise, it's not better.
But did you read through it or did you just scroll through it? Because there's a lot of
stuff.
I really enjoy the manga. I was reading through the first chapter while I was watching the first episode, and there's a lot of subtle things that they don't have in the manga, or so that they don't have in the anime that they have in the manga that I feel really changes things around.
It's all better, but I also think it's just it's an ecchi thing. I'm not a fan. There's a lot of nudity in this.
Oh, well, I haven't gotten that far into it then. I've only read the first chapter.
Okay, so first
all the
three
way through. Well,
chapters.
first and second chapter.
So the
I've
first
read
three
through.
chapters kind of cover the episode, right?
Yeah, the first episode.
And the part where he's like digging his hand in the girl to rip out her organs, he like cuts her clothes off, and then the Alma girl.
Oh, I didn't get to that part.
And then the Alma girl who's fighting, I don't know, he does something to her where he punches her, and then her boob cup rips off. So now she has one boob hanging out while they're fighting.
I didn't get to that part.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's really an effort for the store. I guess I have a different version.
Well, I made some notes on some of the stuff here that I felt in the manga that was really well done in the manga that made me like it more.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I thought, and it kind of changes the perspective on some of the stuff with Natsume, where in the manga we see a bit more information about the main character and his brother. It gives us a bit more emphasis on the main character and how he doesn't just hate technology, but it makes him feel sick or weird, whereas it was kind of passed over very quickly.
I did see that. Yeah, it has more of a background with the main character and him interacting with other characters and stuff. I saw that.
And then we also have Minami, who in the manga, she's portrayed as this very passionate and animated character. And they tried I don't know, I think they tried to do this in the anime, but in the anime, all they ended up doing is just making her mouth bigger. Because in the manga, in the first chapter, like, she's very animated, and a lot of the stuff she's talking very passionately, so she's got her mouth open, and it works really well in the manga, because it's just her being more dramatic or passionate about what she's saying. But in the anime, they just made her mouth bigger, so it opens wider in everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But you don't ever see, like, an expression change in her face, whereas in the manga, there's just so much more.
Oh, I'm at the part in the manga where, okay, he finally gets used to Alma's body and they're fighting and stuff. And then it shows him kicking the guy from behind. And then I remember in the animation, he kicks the guy from behind and then it just cuts. It cuts from there to him holding on to the girl, Amine or whatever her name is.
Is that how it did it in the manga?
No, in the manga.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, it shows him diving and then kicking and then... Oh, it's funny. It does. You kind of fill the gaps in the manga. So it does show her in the background so you can see her diving for the girl, but then the next frame is her running away. But she's running away from him. He's in the background. He's like, "Hey, come here." But in the animation, they don't show that at all. It just shows she kicks him and then they disappear. And then it cuts, and then she's already in the hallway running away. Like, there's no lead time, there's no airspace, there's nothing to make you believe that there was something that happened between that moment and the next moment.
100%.
So there's just a lot of that awkward stuff. And another part, when they're running down the hall and the guy's chasing them, they cut away and they cut to a close-up of the guy. And then randomly, Alma shows up and kicks him. They fight again in the hallway. And the Minami girl, what's her name again?
Minami?
Minami, anyway. The Minami girl, she's just gone. She's nowhere in the shot at all. Like, it doesn't show her being set down. It doesn't show her in the background sitting anywhere. She's just gone out of the shot, and it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
There's a few other things I've just been scrolling through the manga here. One of the things, I thought the character designs were just really bad. But it's some of the character designs are actually really cool in the manga, but in the anime they just look like trash.
Yeah,
like the number 8 in the manga looks so cool, and he's got this sword and his trench coat, and in the anime he's just very stiff, and he's just got his single suit or whatever it is. I understand technology makes, or trying to animate all that stuff is complicated and difficult,
right?
But there's even one of the early parts where we see him in the anime. He comes in through the wall and he's like, "Found you," and then they shoot at him. He says it's futile. Physical attacks can't harm me. And then he goes on and talks about a few other things. But in the manga, Alma's like, "Oh, watch, look out!" And then he comes in through the wall, and he's got this. He actually looks intimidating. He doesn't say anything. He comes in. He says a few different bits of dialogue first, and then he starts talking about different things. And in the anime, they swapped. I don't know why they did it, but they decided they swapped when the dialogue was being said.
Yeah.
So some stuff was said later on, while other stuff was said early on. And it changed the whole power dynamic of this character and who he was. So then he just kind of came off as like awkward and weird, whereas in the manga he's very just like
menacing and like
in the manga I'm like, my god, this guy's actually a badass. Like he's kind of cool with his design, with the goggles and then the sword and the arm, but in like there's just Oh, plus the other thing that's really cool, and I wish they'd done this, is in the anime, we don't really see too much. We just assume that that guy is working with those other soldiers, that they're all a part of the same group, because there's nothing in there that really shows them as being separate.
Yeah.
But in the manga, when he comes in, he's cutting the heads off of these other soldiers. When we see the bullets fly through his hand and we first find out that things can go through him, it's because all these other soldiers are shooting at him, not Alma and I forgot her name already, Minari or whatever it is.
Yeah, Minami.
So then there's some weird decisions that they've done in the anime that they took the same amount of time to go through it in the anime as it would have gone as they did in the manga, but they removed stuff and changed things and that I don't like.
Yeah.
And I understand a lot of the time when you take like a book or a manga and you turn it into an anime, there's things that have to get cut out. And when you cut out stuff, I understand it. But when you spend the same amount of time going over something, but you change it around and change the whole dynamics of it, that's kind of where I'm just like, I don't like this.
Yeah, they make a lot of unnecessary changes. But
because I understand not doing the sword, because they're not a studio that's good enough that they're gonna be able to animate him killing people with a sword that looks good. Like it would look like trash. So I understand not having that and some of the other stuff, but they do such a poor job at making him a menacing character.
Yeah, he's just a boring, creepy guy, essentially.
Yeah, in the anime, I hope I never see him again. In the manga, I hope he's a recurring guy that they have to deal with throughout it.
I think you're gonna be disappointed.
Very possible. He's probably going to die pretty quickly.
Either way, it's just a bad anime. I personally would not suggest anybody watching this hot trash. But if you want to, go for it and then tell us what you think. Tell us how terrible it is, because it is not good. It's not good at all. I personally think, and my review of this, even though this isn't a review, is the animation's hot garbage. I think the story is unengaging because the performances are stiff and nothing is believable and it doesn't sell. The mixture of the 2D and 3D, I've always hated mixtures of those two things.
This one does it a lot worse.
And this one just does it in the worst possible way imaginable, because they use mostly 3D and then they have occasional 2D characters, which is terrible. I'd rather it be the other way around.
I agree.
But yeah, just don't watch this. Don't support this. Don't feel like Crunchyroll can do this and get it out. Like, when you were telling me, Spen, that Crunchyroll did a few of their own custom things and Toga was a part of it. People hate, or I say Toga, Jesus. Tower of God is a part of it, and people hated that. I was surprised. Tower of God is significantly better than this heaping dumpster fire.
No, 100%. Like, this is... I would honestly put this as the worst anime of all time.
Yes, absolutely. I would rather watch somebody's YouTube stick figure animation.
Oh, because it's better. It's probably better animation quality.
That's the truth.
It wouldn't take much to make it look more fluid. But
yeah,
from what I had said when we first came into here for why X-Arm is the worst anime of all time, I think the reason why this ended up the way it is because it's a director that has no experience. He didn't go and talk to anybody or bring in anybody that has animation experience in the past. So it's him and his the same live action studio making an anime, and they just.
And I would also argue that he doesn't care.
Well, I don't know. I think it's possible. I just don't think there's enough information to be able to say it's that he doesn't care, and it's more of that Zio thinks he doesn't care.
Come at me, bro. I ain't scared. If by some magical chance the director of this anime, you want to come on the show, we'll gladly interview you and get your real thoughts and opinions of what happened and find out, are you proud of this? Do you think this is good?
The only thing I gotta say that came out of this is I have Amazon Prime open right now, and I'm ordering High Kick Girl, the first movie of this potential trilogy, for $9.70. But I found that the second one, KG, is not Kick Girl; it's called Karate Girl, which I think is the sequel to it because it's the same girl that was in the first one. But do I get it on DVD or do I go for the Blu-ray?
Oh my god! Absolutely, get the Blu-ray. Maybe it's got director's commentary and stuff like that.
I honestly, I really hope it does.
So he wrote those, or did he direct any of them?
So he wrote, he was the writer for High Kick Girl.
Okay.
He was also the first assistant director for High Kick Girl, but then he was the director for Karate Girl, which I think is the sequel to High Kick Girl. There's a third one called, oh shoot, where is it? Called High Kick Angels, and that came out in 2014. So I think it went High Kick Girl, Karate Girl, and now High Kick Angels, where there's like a large group of them.
But being the writer doesn't mean he's like passionate. He could be commissioned by a company. Who's the producers of those movies?
Oh, that's it. It doesn't say.
Okay.
I think these are such low movies, like low on the totem pole, that there's no producer. There's just the director. It's like one of those ones where they kind of like, you know how when someone graduates from film school, their first couple movies, like they just direct it and there's nobody like giving them money for it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, here's something crazy though. So High Kick Girl got a score of, it was like 4 out of 10. Kick Girl got 4.5 out of 10. But now High Kick Angels got 6.9 out of 10.
Oh man, maybe he's getting better. And then he's like, I'm actually good at this now. I have mastered cinema. Time to do animation.
Is there another one?
So maybe there'll be an X-Arm 2 where it's a little better. And then X-Arm 3 where it's okay. And then he moves on to something else.
Oh, so the girl that is the lead role in High Kick Girl, she also was an actor in the live-action Attack on Titan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Unfortunately, from what I saw in her profile, High Kick Girl was the end of her career.
Oh, dang. Well, that's not good.
But who knows? Also, apparently I'm also getting Raging Phoenix as a part of the High Kick Girl when I order that, so this is weird. All right, I'm getting an extra movie out of all this, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else, I think, to say about this show.
I don't either. I would like to move on to things I enjoy.
Yeah, I'm just quickly going back through my notes here, but I think that was everything.
I'll tell you what, the manga has a lot of boobies.
So I guess I really want to make sure I say I don't think the manga. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't think it's absolutely fantastic. It's not bad though. I think it's like an average. It's like an average quality manga. So I'm not trying to like rave about how fantastic it is. I think I'm just really, really into it because I watched watching the anime. I'm like, this is bad. And then I watched the manga and I'm like, oh wait, it could be better.
Okay.
I think that's why I'm really into it right now. And by really into it, I mean I've read like one chapter.
Yeah, I think you're really not going to be into it after like 1 or 2 more chapters.
Oh. Yeah, if it gets really bad in the ecchi stuff, I'll probably fall off of it.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to like it after 2 chapters. Especially don't get to chapter 15. Good lordy.
Well, I'm expecting it to be really bad because that's what I had read in comments. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. If you like the XR manga, all power to you, by the way. My opinions should not reflect those. It does have some cool moments, but there's too much of this nudity sexual garbage that isn't necessary.
Oh man, quickly talking about animated movies that people say really suck. Final Fantasy The Spirits Within is very lowly rated, and I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
But I also had no Final Fantasy experience when I first watched that movie, so I never had I
The
didn't really
hatred?
know what I was getting into when
Yeah.
I started watching it, and I was just like, this is great, because it's still like really good animation quality.
Yeah, I think as a solid story, if they honestly had named it anything else, it probably would have a higher rating, honestly.
Yeah, because I remember talking to you about it, I'm like, oh man, Five Nights at Freddy's Within, I loved that. And you're like, it was hot trash. I'm like, what?
Yep.
No, it's one of my favorite childhood movies.
I didn't enjoy it because I was expecting a Final Fantasy type movie, and it's nothing like any Final Fantasy they've ever done. Which it's fine to do something different.
It's just like in one of the Final Fantasy universes or something like that.
No.
I think that's...
Not even that. Out of all the Final Fantasies that I've personally seen and experienced, I'm pretty sure I've experienced most of them. It's nothing like any of them. It feels like a Star Ocean. Like it could fit into the Star Ocean universe more than a Final Fantasy universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But... yeah, anyways,
Man.
I'm ready to move on to our book club because I'm very excited about Seraph of the End.
Yeah, because you're fully caught up on it.
I totally am. Hey,
all right.
I watched a good portion of the episode. I fell asleep, and then I skimmed through the rest of it.
All right, so we're up on episode 6 now. We've watched 1 through 6.
Yes. So we're episode 4 through 6 is what we were supposed to review for the week, and I was making my slow way through it, and I'm having a problem, Spen. I keep falling asleep while watching anime. I don't understand why.
Just don't watch it late at night when you're lying in bed.
That's fair. You make good points.
Well, before we get into any specifics of it, what are your initial thoughts?
Of the 3 episodes?
Yeah, of where the show is at right now.
I think it's better than episode 2 and 3. So, like, I really liked episode 1. We talked last week about how episode 1 was great. And then episode 2 and 3 kind of fell off a little bit. I do think it picks up more because it starts getting into episode 4 is about Mikola, that character, and how he became a vampire and such. And then episode 5 and 6 are about like the back to the main characters and them getting their demon weapons so they can finally go out and, you know, wreak some havoc.
Yeah.
I'm more interested. There's just a few characters like the new guy, Shihu, the pink hair guy, or Shiho, whatever his name is.
I wasn't expecting him to have the prominent role that he does.
I did once I saw. I mean, anybody who has different hair is going to be a main character. That's just how a lot of anime works.
See, I never pick up on that.
I kind of expected that, but I don't like his voice actor. I feel like I still feel the same way about Gurren. Like, listening to Gurren, he drives me nuts. I think his voice actor just doesn't match the personality and the character.
Oh, see, I like him.
I think Shiho's voice actor's fine. I think he and Gurren should switch voice actors, and I think it would fit their personalities better. Because Shiho has a very, like, strong leadership voice, as Gurren does not. He has more of a cocky teenager voice.
See, but Gurren's more of a cocky teenager, though.
Except Gurren's older, and he's a leader, so, like, he could still be cocky and lazy, but have that leadership voice. I don't think his voice fits him at all. We've already talked about it. Like, I think he...
I know. The more I've tried paying more attention to it, and I don't think his voice is, like, the greatest voice that fits perfectly, but I'm happy with what they chose with it.
You're watching dub?
Yeah, I'm watching the same one as you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Shiho's voice would fit Gurren better, and then vice versa. Either way, I'm not really too engaged with Shiho. I think he's all right. I think they brought him up just to kind of be the antagonist to Yu. Because Yu has an abrasive personality, and they need more abrasive personalities to contrast him because nobody likes Yu, and Yu likes nobody else. So why not add him to the fire?
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I still don't know the name of the purple-haired girl. I somehow keep missing it, and then I don't write it down, so she's still going to remain purple-haired girl for the remainder of our review of this and overview. But overall, I enjoyed it. Episode 6, I think, is really good, despite me falling asleep part of it. But I watched it before the podcast, before we started while setting up. I was watching it at like 2 times speed and skipping a minute here and there.
Oh, okay.
So I got a good gist of the episode. It was pretty action heavy, which is a lot of the stuff I don't care too much about. So I was okay with it.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I'm at a point right now where I really like it, but I feel like I'm not gonna like these next 3 episodes as much. I feel like we were at like I feel the first episode ended up on the highest point, and then it kind of went down a little bit and it started to pick back up, and I feel like we're about to drop back down for a little while.
I kind of feel the same way. Like this is obviously a shonen, and I'm not like I don't like shonen very much. But I'm gonna give it a shot, and we're gonna go through it. My biggest gripes with the entire thing are mostly design choices and just like character choices. Like Mikola's a good character, sure, even though he's now the emo guy because he has to get out of the vampire threshold and whatever. I hate the vampire queen. It's like a teenage lolly.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in the vampire they show as like this majestic, almost feels like a British overlord kind of feeling to it, where they're from the medieval time frames, or not the medieval, but like the mid-century time frames where everybody's like wearing has a musket and a sword and stuff like that. Everyone kind of feels like they're royalty, all the vampires, and then the queen is like some lolly girl, and so that annoyed me. I hated that character
I'm just
choice.
used to that in anime, so I just don't really notice that anymore.
See, I'm very selective about the anime I watch, so I typically try not to get into that kind of thing, just because I don't understand why they have these tropes and why people are interested in that kind of thing. But I personally hate that character choice. And in episode 6, I was really into it as well until you got his demon, and then his demon is also a girl guy? I don't know. It's a long-haired, blue-haired little child. And I don't think it's very terrifying.
Wait, I don't remember that.
The voice of the demon makes no sense. It's like some teenager, some kid.
It's like that female girl voice, or was that the... I don't remember who's... Yeah, none of the voices for the demons I felt fit very well.
Yeah.
And especially when they were in their like shadow form.
Yeah. I thought the shadow form of the demons were kind of cool. I kind of wish they had stayed that way, just like this misty, shadowy figure.
Yeah, it would have been like more mysterious and like otherworldly.
Yeah, I think that would have been more interesting. And then they showed him like, hey, I look just like you, but like a kid version of you instead.
Oh yeah, his demon voice is it's that female voice.
Yeah. It's like a female.
That's right. And then it is a girl. It's 100% a girl.
Is it a girl? I thought it was a boy, a little boy. Because
it's as girly of a voice as it can be. Like, there's no way that's a guy.
No, because they have girls that voice. They have girls that voice little boys.
If you go to like 10:30 on episode 6, there's no way. With how the voice is, there's no way that's a guy.
Yeah, again, they do have women who voice little teenage boys, because the voice of this character sounds a lot like Wen from Cowboy Bebop. The reason I'm picking that up is because that's literally the episode I'm working on right now, and I've watched 100 times.
Oh.
It sounds really familiar.
For me, I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
But I think it's a girl. I think it's going to be a girl.
Oh, I'm looking up Wen right now.
Yeah, because I could for the longest time in Cowboy Bebop, I never knew if it was a boy or a girl. Every once in a while, I'd be like, I think it's a boy. I'm like, oh, maybe it's a girl. And I like how they even make comments. The other characters in Cowboy Bebop make comments about that too.
You're thinking of Ed.
Yeah, well, sorry, with Ed, yeah.
Yeah.
In Cowboy Bebop, I could never figure out if Ed was a boy or a girl. And then I think even Faye at a couple moments is just like, wait, are you a boy or a girl?
Yeah, Ed is a girl, for sure. Anyways,
yeah,
Seraph of the End, I thought these episodes were good. Um, my major gripes are mostly with character choices and just designs and stuff like that. Story wise, it's going down the path that I kind of thought it was going. You know, they're getting their weapons. They're gonna fight the ultimate war.
Yeah, no, you did call that.
But I am excited. I'm gonna give it a few more episodes as well. I'm very excited for next week to see where it kind of heads. Who do you think is the strongest character? Who do you think is the most interesting character?
I don't know. The first tie up for me is, I forget his name, but it's the boy that had the bow and arrow.
Yeah, his
either
name is
him-
Yoichi.
Yeah, either Yoichi or I don't have the names in front of me like I did last podcast, so I don't remember them. Or it's the blonde guy that's a vampire now.
Oh,
Those are the two
Mikala?
I'm most interested in knowing more about. I
Okay.
find them to be kind of the most exciting.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
yeah, 'cause I used to really like the main character, but now he's just always like, I understand he's got his focus,
Yeah,
and in these shows, typically the main character doesn't have they don't. Most of the side characters have more personality, just because they want to have the main character show less personality, just so it's more likely that more people will relate to the character throughout the show. But I
Yeah.
feel like in this situation, he's just too angry all the time.
I agree. I mean,
You know, I take it back. I take everything I said back about who I'm most interested in, who I think is the strongest character, and I
okay.
say it's that leader guy of them right now.
Gerd,
that,
really?
Yeah,
He's my least favorite character.
I like him the most.
I
Yeah,
find nothing about him interesting. I think he's just,
Really?
I think he's just a dick. I hate his voice actor. And I just don't find his character engaging or fascinating. I mean, they haven't really given him a story yet, other than just his moments where he appears here and there.
yeah. Well, we know a little bit about about him from that table meeting. Not tons. We know he was asleep, so he doesn't. He wakes up and it shows he doesn't really care about a bunch of the stuff going on there, and then he has some sort of connection with other powerful people there, and they all kind of just like shrug him off,
Right.
because they know he's powerful, or there's something about it. I don't know. He's got some sort of connection in with everything.
Yeah, I think he's just, I don't know. I think he's like how should I say it? He's kind of like the way out. He's the get out of jail free card, I think, in this anime. So they keep mentioning his power. His power is brought up a lot. And he's the way for the main character to have mistakes and not die from them. I think that's
Yeah,
what's
and
really
to-
going to happen.
Calling him the get out of jail free card is 100% right. I didn't really think about that till now, but Gurren's set up so that it doesn't matter what this guy does, he's going to be able to get away with it.
Exactly. Yeah, Gerd is literally there just to be the fall, the net for Yuichiro when he messes up and stuff. And the anime is gonna end probably in the way where he kills himself and sacrifices himself, and then he has this heartwarming moment with Yuichiro, like, "I've always believed in you. You can do this." And then Yuichiro now has the power in his heart and soul to be able to defeat the evil vampire demon things that they fight.
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. It might not go that route, but
Do you think Blondie and the main character are gonna fight, and one of them, and the Blondie's gonna die?
no, they're gonna be besties. They're gonna be opposing besties. So they're gonna be two people that have to fight each other to show their sides that they're not evil or not traitors to their own side, but at the same time they don't want to kill each other. So I think that's gonna happen the entire anime until like the finale, and then they're gonna team up to beat the boss at the end.
Yeah, there's another show. I don't remember if it was a show or if it was a Tales of game that I played, where they had something where it was two main characters were best friends, but they got separated. So then they were always on like the opposing side. So they were at war with each other. But then whenever there were moments where they met up, then they kind of like were like, oh, but we're besties. And then the difference being here is that Mikala doesn't like being the vampire.
No, I agree. I don't think either that's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen, though, or what might happen is he'll save them, and then Ichiro's side will use him as like a prisoner and then keep him around just to fight other vampires. And then Ichiro would try to like break him out kind of thing.
Yeah, that's tough because they could go a bunch of different ways with it.
Yeah, they could go a lot of interesting ways with it, but it's anime, and I have a feeling they might not. Although, I mean, it does surprise me once in a while. It has some really dark moments, some really cool moments, and then it does cliche anime things afterwards. Like with Yoichi, how he got possessed by the demon.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, on episode 6, Gurren was talking about how, like, oh, if you fail your test, you get possessed by the demon, and then I'll kill you. Basically, he gets possessed by the demon, and then he's like, all right, your first test is to find out where this demon is and kill him. And Yuichiro is like, no, we can save him. And Gurren's like, that's not possible. He's been overtaken by a demon. And they save him anyways. Really, well, I guess technically Yoichi saved himself, right? Like he fought the demon and fought him off at the end. But
what I liked about that is I feel that shows a bit about Gurren's character and how you can see there's a lot of people that are kind of standoffish with him, but there's also a large group of people that they just kind of put up with how he is. And I think it's because that his standoff nature, moments like that showed that it's just an act where he's just pretending to be this tough guy.
Yeah.
But people really know that deep down, like, he really cares. So that it's moments like that that kind of make me more interested in this character, make me kind of like him.
I guess. Yeah, no, I can see that. I mean, because he did lead the charge. He was the one telling Yoichi you can take over and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like in a dynamic story, it would have been more interesting if, they give you this Yoichi character, kind of like in the first episode. They did a really good job where they introduce these characters that you feel like are going to be important, and that they just kill them.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping the similar thing would happen to Yoichi. Like, oh, he's this nice guy. Yuichiro finally started to come around to like this one guy, and he gets taken over by a demon, and then Yuichiro has to kill him to find out how brutal this world is.
Yeah, see, I didn't think that was going to happen. I was worried that he was going to get killed off there, because we made that bet earlier, but...
Oh, well, he's still going to die. He's going to die saving Yuichiro later.
No, he's not
going to
die.
In some capacity. But
no, he's going to stay alive.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I forgot about the bet, honestly. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen either. I was just hoping because the first episode, I didn't think was going to happen, and yet they did it anyways. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Either way, I think these next 3 episodes, the 4, 5, and 6, were definitely more consistent, I would say, than the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, the first 3 episodes kind of went a whole bunch of different directions, and now it's
kind of balancing out.
It's found its lane, and now it's kind of sticking with it.
Yeah. The action still looked really good. The few action scenes I saw were really good. Again, I'm not really into the action as much. I don't care a whole lot about the fights. I'm more interested in the story around it. But overall, it's a top-notch anime. It's still really good and it's holding strong. And I'm pretty excited for, next week when we watch 7, 8, 9. And I'm not going to fall asleep this time, I promise.
Well, good luck with that, Zio.
Thanks, Ben.
But normally we go and we talk about just other random stuff after this, but I actually have to get going.
Okay.
So I've got to drop off here at this point. If you want to hang around and talk with everybody, you're more than welcome to.
Nah, I'm good. I don't like these people that much.
All right, well, Zio, I will talk to you later, my good sir.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.